And we're back. Hey, colleague, can you feel it?
Yeah,
you feel that twitch in your thumb?
Mm-hmm.
You feel that itch behind your eye?
Mm-hmm.
You feel that anxiety?
Myself,
you feel that Wi-Fi?
Mm-hmm.
It's disconnected.
Yeah,
it's gone.
I feel it every day.
Are you having withdrawals?
Not yet, but I'm sure I will if I ever turn my internet off. It's interesting though, like even just walking into another room without your phone feels like you're naked. Like it feels like walking around naked if you don't have your phone with you.
You ever feel
natural?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I did it the other day. I left my phone in the bathroom and I walked out into the living room and I was like, wow, this is what it feels like. I felt as though I was in the garden again.
As in like a warrior?
Yeah. I'm not talking about Olive Garden.
You ever think the reason you feel naked is because you're being disconnected from the server and you're the client?
Probably. I know back in the day, like you watch those old Western films, those Western guys like, Clint Eastwood and was that Texas Ranger?
Power Rangers?
Yeah, all them. They would feel naked if they didn't have an iron on their side iron, they would say.
Yeah, they needed that suit, that upper crest.
They needed that leg jammer.
Yeah, they needed that truth falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hard stone.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the stoners. Mm-hmm. But you ever thought that you don't really own your hand? You don't really own your breath? You don't own your thoughts?
Sometimes I think like that, yeah.
What causes you to think that, believe that?
The government.
What have they been whispering in your ear?
That penguin over there.
Well, most of us, we think we do. But the terms of service, the TOS, has changed. It's kind of like PayPal. You think you signed up for something, everything's great, and then they slam you with that, oh, you've been saying misinformation, huh? Well, now the terms of service has changed. Now you're going to get chat with $2,500, excuse me.
Well, look at what happened to those other people. Again, we talk about them a lot. Toilet Time, shout out to you guys if you guys are still out there, but look what happened to them.
Oh, I know. We're going to get into how the toilet is even a narc with a sniffer punk.
Whoa.
But yeah, there's a lot of things we're going to get into today. But put down that Mr. Beast chicken paste that you showed us last week. Unplug that Alexa that's wiretapping everything. Because this, colleague, is the
Twilight Zone.
The Matrix Network. Oh, that got me back into the zone.
Auto Zone?
Yeah. Because as all you guys know, I am your host. And this is my colleague.
And TV Land is our sponsor.
In this week's episode 191, HOS, Human Operating System, the BIOPOLITICAL Convergence.
The sister of HOA.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because it's almost the same thing. You go to it, you get into this place, and you think, they tell you all these little things. You're gonna get fined if your trash can is over full, $20, and you got like who's that mall cop guy driving around?
Paul Blart.
Yeah, and he's driving around giving everybody's fines.
Mm-hmm.
He feels like he's got some power, but ultimately, you don't even get to. You think you own something, but you don't. You're under this authority. But the terms of service can change anytime they want. And now you're trapped. What are you going to do about it? You're going to get up and move?
You can. I mean, some people took it upon themselves to try to get rid of like that dark venom inside of themselves.
Whoa. Are they emphasizing that black gold? Whoa. That's deep. I mean, I don't know what they're really trying to emphasize because, Saudis are known for having all that oil. Is that what he was emphasizing? That he's saturated in the black gold? Because I didn't know that guy was Saudi until the transmission.
If you look at him, it looked like venom. Like he had the teeth and everything. But yeah.
I mean, I thought that until I saw the transition. And I was like, oh, he might be implying something else.
It might be. But there's no way to know.
Yeah.
It runs as deep as the oil.
But you know what else is deep? Not the Mariana Trench, but we're going to be talking about the deep state.
Fracking.
Yeah, I guess. Pumping it full of salt water and jive. But like we've been promising, this is going to be the Motherlode drop. I am going to be dropping 50 layers of the Matrix today. Over 300 years of context to show that this government has been building this human operating system, this biopolitical convergence. It's not something that we see today. Today's just a fruit. But it's just been building, and it's been molding and bathing for the last 300 years. But we're going to go through all 50. And I already know all our sponsors, they're going to probably leave after this one because who can, what would they say, who can handle this? But we're going to drop every single one of them. Well, actually, there was a lot more, but I had to cut it. I cut it at 50.
Well, we have to still be a puppet for TV Land, of course.
You know, if they would have actually made shows like this, I probably would have watched it more. I mean, that seems like a really cool show.
Yeah.
But the only person that's probably going to be remaining as our sponsor, as always, is Mountain Dew, of course.
Yeah, they support everything we DEW.
Yeah, because they want you to do DA. But we're not getting to the Epstein files today. That's its whole other thing. But, of course, the upload starts now. Mm-hmm. So the first thing we're going to do, and I think there's 4 sections or acts that we're going to go through. The first act, I coined the legacy code. And remember, this is a operating system. As in every operating system, it has a foundation and it's getting built. But this is from the 1700s to the 1940s, and I'm going to take you guys through 1700s all the way to today to show you it's been 300 years in the making of this human operating system, this biopolitical convergence. The first thing we have to identify is humans as inventory. If you want to understand 2026, you got to understand the legacy code. The software was written centuries ago.
This is going to get good.
And we're just seeing hardware and software updates now. What do you feel about that?
Well, I think I've always known that when I had a PSP back in the day, for those of you guys who are old enough to know what a PSP is, I always thought that thing ran as fast as things have run today.
Yeah, but that's not the case.
That's what they say.
How do we really know? I guess if somebody had a PSP, public service announcement. But yeah, I guess if somebody had it today, I guess they could test it with some internet speeds today. But
even if you did have one today, there's no telling that the government could easily just make it slower on purpose
with an update.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because of course those still get updates, I'm sure. And if it doesn't, they probably gave it one final update to where it's going to permanently be downloading internet data slowly on purpose. So you'd never be able to know.
That's true.
And it'd be inside of the software.
That's right. That it's going to be soft served.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hardwired in. So
the first phase is ownership. So we start here in 1705, and I called this matrix the plantation algorithm. It starts with the Virginia slave codes, and I'm going to post this up right here. This is the 1705 Virginia slave codes. And what it was a means, there's a Latin phrase. It's called partis sequitur voluntarum, which translates, that which is born follows the womb. It ensured that children of enslaved women inherit the mother's enslaved status, making slavery hereditary. So basically, think about it.
Is this down to the 4th generation?
Well, it's just infinitive. It was just infinitive. So think about it. The father could buy his way to be free. But because every child has to come from the mother, the slave owners wanted to make sure that there's no way for their child to to be a free child. The only way to make sure, guarantee, even if the father was a free man, if they pass a law that every child that comes out of the womb, that's why it's that which is born follows the womb, is automatically a slave, or it inherits the mother's status. It can guarantee the hereditary function. So you are born into slavery. And so this was the invention of biocapitalism. You know, we talked about surveillance capitalism. Shout out to 9/11, 2001, Google. But this is biocapitalism. And again, this is not an emphasis to talk about reparations or critical race theory. I'm just setting the premise that the idea of owning people has always been here. And yeah, every country, every nation's had slaves, whatever. That's not the point. The point is owning people because they still own you today. And that's what people need to get. I mean, if you really think about it, and we'll get into it more, look at your health insurance. Look at your dependency. Look at how much you need the government, but you think you don't. This biocapitalism is embedded. And it all starts here, where your slavery is hereditary because you take on the status of the mother. Now just think about the analogy here. You take the status, born into the status of your mother. You're born into the contract.
So if you were born into Elon Musk's family from his wife or wives, then you inherit all of his wealth then.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Whether he wants you to or not.
Right. Right. And that's just default.
Or is it just one-sided? Like you inherit all the poverty, but you don't inherit the wealth.
Well, in this case,
it seems like a rich person's paradigm.
Right. Right. In this case, they made sure that the hereditary bias was based upon the mother, because the male could buy his way into freedom, work or whatever, but the male don't produce children. They don't birth the children. So the woman is a double benefit to the slave owner. They themselves are the slave, and then they're going to produce more slaves. So if they make sure that every child inherits the mother's condition, this is a guarantee rotation. So they own future slaves defaultly.
And it's always the women.
Right.
Well, so how do you explain, someone just took a video, this is a couple years old, so forgive, the old reference, but somebody took a video a couple years ago, 3 years ago maybe. It doesn't seem like it's lining up with what you're saying. They didn't have to do that. She didn't have to get on that boat with them. And he didn't have to row the boat in front of everybody. It's like, it's like a parade. It's like, come check us out. Look at how strong our relationship is. And honestly, I believe their relationship could hold water.
Yeah, but I don't know if anything is guaranteed or hereditary here. I think these are volitional choices going on.
Well, could this be
both sides?
Could this be what you're talking about? Like maybe she is just, maybe in his eyes, he's thinking one thing: slavery.
I don't think so, because he had to choose to get in that boat.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's doing this because he knows what she's going to produce for him.
I don't know about that one. I'll just have to take your concept of thought. I think, what they say, desperate times creates desperate measures.
Well, she may not be able to pull her own weight, but he can definitely pull her weight.
In a boat, try to do it on land.
I'm sure that man could do it on land too. And she's just going to let him.
Yeah. Well,
she's the princess in that pumpkin.
Well, I'll tell you who's not going to let you is the insurance companies.
That's to their own loss.
Well, I'm saying that's the connective construct today to these Virginia slave codes. They calculate your genetic risk. They value your lifetime value of your fetus. They're using the same math. They'll say, oh, you have preconditions? And no, you're not covered. They value you. And then they curate a genetic risk score. And then they assess your value. So the construct is the same math. But that's just one thing. So that's the beginning. That's ownership. They own you. And they devised a way. And all I'm showing you is that this is the beginning. This is the plantational algorithm. Can we get away with a function to where we can guarantee ownership? And by making sure that the status of the mother is hereditary to the child, they can guarantee ownership. So that was the first thing. We need to own you and then continue the ownership. So the next thing we're going to jump to is 1830, the reservation firewall.
Is this in Act 1 still?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we're going to go all the way to, I believe, 1940. And then we're going to jump to Act 2. But this is the Indian Removal Act. And so for you guys who don't know, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys do, here in the Indian Removal Act, what they did was, this is the first time you hear about 15-minute cities. We hear about 15-minute cities today, but this was the first intervention of it. So the government decided certain biological types, they don't fit the update. So they just move them. They decide, not with a gun, but through rationing. They control your calories. Stay in this zone right here, in this area, you'll get some food. You leave this zone, you're going to starve. So this was the beta testing for 15-minute cities. That's what they did with this Indian Removal Act. So they decided that these Indians that were in these areas, they weren't up to par with the Americans. So they decided, basically the beginning of reservations. You can stay here. And if you stay in this area, this zone, we'll give you food, we'll help you and all this. But if you leave here, we're giving you nothing. You're going to die. So if you think about that and translate that into 15-minute cities and geofencing, this is the first time you start seeing this. And this is why as we continue on, you're going to start seeing what you see today has already been set up as foundational testing. And today they just perfected the hardware.
Because I remember a long time ago, they at first started with like a couple of packs of cigarettes.
Yeah, rationing.
Yeah. Well, they tried to trade off some cigarettes and some water for pieces of land with the native people on their reservations.
And promotes the Wet'suwet'en culture, and that provides benefits to the Wet'suwet'en people as meaningful participants in the project. To be able to do that, we need access onto the territory. Will you allow us access onto the territory here?
Well, you have to go through the proper process. You guys haven't done that. These pipeline projects will wipe out vast tracts of land that will prevent us from doing our burial.
This is that you will not allow us access onto the territory. We understand that. We thank you for your time here today.
We are the authority of this territory.
Yes.
The province isn't.
We brought you an offering. We've left some water, some tobacco for you.
We've got clean water.
Some
there,
tobacco?
And pollution, the plastic that adds to the landfill. So you could pick your...
Whoa. That's...
There it is.
Oh.
Can you even full size that? Yeah, look at that thing. You got some tobacco
and some water.
That joker said, "I got some tobacco."
Yeah, enough for all two of them, and some water for probably one of their families.
Yeah,
that's it. Like the cameraman actually filmed that.
That joker said, "I got an offering."
Yeah, that's what they came with.
Yeah, well,
they pulled that out of their truck. They're like, that was probably for them, but they thought of the last thing they could. Should have given like a pocket knife, maybe a hammer too or something. I don't know.
I ain't heard anybody call it some tobacco.
It literally felt like an Office episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing, even the camera guys like zooming up on people's faces And then he zooms up on the offer. He's like, why did you just cut? Like, why are you filming that? Just film, like.
You know, what's funny is that they took this nationwide.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the context. Yeah, that's like the modern version of rationing.
Wow. Well, it's in slew with what you're saying, because you're explaining how they're bartering and they're getting us more and more closer through these 15-minute cities, and they're putting, it's almost like reservations. So they're keeping all. It's almost like the government isn't doing away with these reservations. They could, but they're not doing away with them because they want that idea in the back of our mind, so that when they produce these 15-minute cities, it'll just be like white people reservations,
right.
maybe.
And, I've talked about it in many episodes. You guys can look at, I think it was called democracy.exe, when I talked about what is called state cities and freedom cities, like Trump was talking about. They're areas that corporations will own, and they're going to have accesses and anti-regulatory practices. Like the government's going to be hands off. But of course, this isn't going to be like reservations where it's highly rationed. It's the inverse. This is where all the flourishment, all the money's going to be, and the rest of us are actually going to be one big reservation. So the rest of the United States, so it's inverse. Right now, the reservations are rationed, and the rest of us get to live in this life. But when they create these cities, these state cities or these freedom cities, it's the inverse. That's where all the money's going to be, and the whole entire rest of the United States is going to be one big reservation. So they're going to just inverse it. But they're getting you acclimated back here, back in the 1830s. The idea of controlling people in isolated zones, and if you comply, you can get benefits. If you don't, you're going to die, has already been acclimated and tested. And it still goes on to this day. But like anything, if you're a smart person, you inverse the tactics so that nobody feels like it's a problem, because everybody has the idea of class systems. The rich always, we just, oh yeah, well, that's what the rich do. So you're acclimated. They already get benefits that you don't. So why not just inverse the rationing system? And that's what I would call, like last week, inverse totalitarianism. You think you have freedom, but you're being forced. It's an inverse. They're not using a gun. They're using a free will against you. And it's the same thing. This is an inverse.
It's like that oil tycoon, he could have easily just gave them like a couple of smokes, but no, he gave them a lot.
You give them tobacco.
Yeah. He could have just gave them a couple of water bottles that they found in the truck, but no, they gave them a lot.
Yeah. So the next thing, we have the administrative snip. In 1927, we start really establishing the first primacy for eugenics. So the Supreme Court passed this law that was emphasized because of what they call, and I'm just using their words here, imbeciles. And so this court case was called Buck versus Bell, as you guys can see here. And in this court case, what they were deciding was whether they should be able to sterilize unfit people, intellectually disabled, handicapped, anybody that they thought were going to be a issue for protection and health of the government. So if they thought that you posed any threat, they think, well, they passed this as a precedent. The government has the legal authority to sterilize you, to forcefully sterilize you. And the direct quote from the Supreme Court was, 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. That's what they wanted you to know. And this law is still on the books. If they wanted to still go along with this law is still on the books. And this is the legal foundation for every vaccine mandate. The argument is your body is a public risk. And if you are a risk, we should make sure you don't have any more children, because 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. So when you think about these vaccine mandates that happened back in COVID, you think, wow, this is crazy. It's never happened before. they've been doing this since 27. They've been saying we need to sterilize these people because they're mentally disabled. They're mentally handicapped. Basically, you're not valuable. Your value as a human is less, subpar. So you shouldn't be producing children at all.
But I'm shocked that people are even producing children nowadays anyways. Like we've seen what's going on in the dating world.
Excuse me, are you a girl? You are? Oh my God! My dreams do come true! Excuse me, I could smell you from across the way, and I wanted to ask.
It looks like that's a real
Can I
person
try
from
your
Meat
shoes?
Canyon.
Just a nibble. Can you take your shoes off for me? Do you even know what Warhammer is? Do you even know where you're at? Like, what are you doing here? Why would you even come here? You're not allowed. You're not allowed. You're not supposed to play this game.
Here.
This is my game.
You're making the
My
argument
game.
tougher.
My friend doesn't like you. I don't like you either. You know, if you really enjoy Magic, you can always come back with me to my place, and we can make a deck together. Maybe watch some movies. And maybe a lot more. Give me your shoes! No! Give me your shoes!
That's what women apparently have to go through in there. You go to a game store to get a video game, and that's what you have to go through. And again, I'm not a woman, so I would never know this. But in the comment section, you see all these women commenting like, "Yeah, this is why I don't shop for games in the local store. I get them online or whatever." Like they don't even go. All these women are confirming this is exactly what they're met with. It's that kind of stuff. So I'm not really why. It seems like they're already doing. They don't need a vaccine to stop any kind of genes from spreading. All they just need is propaganda. That you need to play more video games, go out less. And COVID, that was a big thing because it forced people more indoors.
Well, I think the issue is because they have now. Yeah, because I mean, when you think about it, that court case was 1927. You know, there's no TV, there's no social media. People are just reproducing all day, every day. What else are you going to do?
Well, back in the day, it was no different.
That's just an obstruction. Well, that's just an obstruction. They can just rip that off. And back in those days, they probably did. But
Might rip your eyelids off too with it, though.
Yeah, well, in those days, they probably didn't even care.
Can't be too careful.
Yeah, prohibition and all. But yeah, I would say all they did was give an update. You know, now we have social media, now we have video games, we have a lot of things that can kind of deter you from thinking about procreating all day. Back in the day, what else were you going to do? But yeah, see, you made this argument more difficult, colleague. When people see that, they might actually agree with Buck and Bell and what happened in that court case and saying, yeah, 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. I don't want to go down that road because I think all humans have equal value. But yeah, when you play videos like that,
I think the women are going to be the first people to hit that terminate button.
Yeah, well,
especially if you show them which imbeciles you're erasing.
It just depends because you know each one of those people you call an imbecile, they all came from a mother too. So yeah, you might say somebody else's child is, but would you say yours?
Yeah, that's where a lot of I think we're going down that line where child rearing isn't seen as a good thing. It's seen as more of an inconvenience, and it is because back in the day, you worked hard for what you had. Men and women both worked hard. You had to, so child rearing was just another thing you had to do. It's just working hard. But nowadays, because everything is microwave and very easy to get, the one thing that's not easy is child rearing, and you can't do that. There's no way to, push fast forward. There's no way to pay your way out of that. You have to slowly, through this painstaking process, watch the child take everything from you, everything down to your very soul.
Yeah, it's true. But, like a lot of people, regardless, they always say that's still my child, regardless. And especially mothers. I mean, they have a natural nurturing proclivity. But yeah, it's always easy to point out somebody else's child as the imbecile. But are you going to push the delete on your own child? And, a lot of people may make that argument, for abortion. Like they believe that it's not a human yet, so they want to make that argument. But what about your 7-year-old, your 10-year-old, your 21-year-old that's still living in your basement right now? It is what it is. And I'm not making the fact that if you're still living with your parents, you're an imbecile or anything like that. But people,
you are a millennial.
Well, it's easy to point the finger. It's like, yeah, their child. But would you say it about yours? And that's the problem, is everybody's child is somebody's own personal child. But that's the question. Justification is a fine line between desire and necessity. And so the question is do you want to start justifying the value of humans? The government wants you to, so they can go ahead and continue with this eugenical idea. 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. Let's just stop it all. And we just need to create this super race. And that was the premise of this administrative snip in 1927. And that law, remember, that law is still in the books. And when we talked about earlier, how the idea is ownership. Well, in Michigan, they've been storing your baby's blood spots for decades. They have already been capturing the DNA before you have a name. Your data has been inside this database since your birth. And this is just Michigan. I'm sure there's other places. But they have been owning the inventory from the cradle to the grave.
So they've been robbing the cradle and the grave.
And your data and your DNA and everything else.
I made sure they couldn't have my DNA. I never caught any of it.
Oh, don't worry. You're going to catch some soon. You're going to catch some ghost DNA.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, because I just wanted to set the preface. That was Act 1. That was the history of what was foundational. Now we're going to move into the surveillance suite from 1950 to 1990.
Turn it up.
Penetrating the mind.
Whoa.
You think you own your mind. And, we've all heard about MK Ultra. We know all about that. And we've talked about that many times. But back in those days, what they were trying to do is manipulate through like audio sounds, tapes, LSD stories. We've heard about all of that. But what about, and we talked about what I'm about to say now, but it adds to the layer that we're going to go to, TDI. Targeted dream incubation. That's the ultimate goal of mind control.
Yeah, because I've been having some really weird dreams lately.
I mean, I think you remember when we talked about it. I don't remember if it was you or me, but one of us brought this up where Coors Light was testing an ad to see if they could control what you dream about. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And
I'm surprised it wasn't Bud Light.
Yeah. And so that's what they want to do. Ultimately, they want to control not just what you think and what you do. They want to put it in your dreams.
Do we know if Bud Light has been doing it? Because I feel like I've been getting a lot of dreams from them. It just seems like it's those kind of dreams that they would be producing. And the dreams are not coming from me. I know they're not coming from my ghost DNA or whatever. They're coming from some kind of exterior source.
Well, just think about it, and during that episode, I can't remember which one it is, we talked about the same thing. But, today we have all these smartwatches and we have Alexas and all these. Your smartwatch can monitor when you sleep. And right before you hit that middle ground, right before your REM state, you're very susceptible. So what if your smartwatch connected to your Alexa, it knows you're about to hit that state, the Alexa starts playing these subliminal advertisements, and you hear all that, then you hit that REM state. That's going to start to influence your dreams. And you haven't been asking for this. You aren't giving nobody permission. But hey, you scored a 92 on your sleep score. You're happy about that. We all need to go get that watch and connect so we can get good sleep. But what if it's all interconnected so they can start propagating these unconscious manipulations? There's 40 million people with these smart devices like that. And they're just, who knows what you're listening to in that state?
Yeah, but they would get caught unless both people in the bed, like let's say you have a wife or girlfriend or whoever you're sleeping with, you both have to have that smartwatch because it's got to be able to tell that both of you are asleep. And then, because if one of you is asleep and one of you is not, then it can't do it because you may wake up the other party and get in trouble.
Well, a lot of people do. I mean, it's very rare that, when one person gets a device like that, like a watch, the other person's like, oh, I want to get that too. It's very rare that the one person gets like, I don't care. But I guess that's true. I mean, at some point, unless the other person doesn't care, how many people are aware of that? How many people may just think, oh, it's just an advertisement. It is what it is. How many people are thinking that this is directly correlated with the sleep monitoring of their smartwatch? Yeah,
I guess. And if your Amazon Alexa or whatever Google Dot is going off in the middle of the night, you're just going to think you're haunted or something.
Yeah, or it's just randomly turned on, or it's a glitch or something.
Yeah, it's just that ghost DNA.
Yeah, it's whatever. Oh, we're going to get into some real ghost DNA. This is something we never talked about.
Oh, we should have talked about this on Halloween.
Yeah, I guess so, but
it's going to get spooky.
It is what it is. But yeah, see, you've been dreaming about Bud Light, so you've been compromised, colleague.
I know.
Yeah, but they don't want to just get into your mind. They want to get into your veins.
I know.
Yeah, what was that one guy says? You got a prophetic vein.
Yeah, Robert Tilden.
Yeah.
He's like, we're just getting into a prophetic vein.
So what have you ever heard of the pee or starve doctrine?
No.
So in 1988...
Sounds kind of heretical, though.
Yeah, I know. In 1988, I'm sure you've all heard about the DARE and stuff, the drug-free stuff. But in 1988, they passed the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1988. Now, what this allowed was corporations. And, again, everything we're talking about, remember, these are foundational premises. What you see today are the fruits of all of this, but these are foundational premises. What this allowed was the corporations and the government to start mandating drug tests. And see, before this, it is what it is. And everybody's I can already hear, it's like, yeah, but what's wrong with that? We don't want a bunch of drunks and we don't want people doing drugs, driving a forklift. But acclimation is what leads to the propagation. So, yeah, of course, everything's about safety. Everything's about public health. Everything's about for your good. But this set the premise, because here it took away your Fourth Amendment right to illegal search and seizures. They can legally force you, and they're going to search your DNA because they're going to legally say, if you want this job, hand over those fluids. And if you don't, you ain't getting this job. And everybody's going to say, I can hear it right now. Everybody's going to say, but that's a good thing. Is that a good thing to set those premises?
Not if they legalize marijuana.
Well, sure. But then again, they still say same thing, pee in this cup or you lose your job.
Yeah, but you're going to have some substances in your urine. And even though it's legalized in a lot of states, the companies aren't going to go for it still.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Because you can get hurt under the influence. No matter how legal it is, you're never going to be able to operate underneath the influence.
Right. And that's the argument. They're like, see, we have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
We need rights to your fluids. And I'll make the argument, no, you don't. Just fire them. But you don't. The reason why you don't just set the active, you're being reactive, is because you want control.
They're trying to job their love.
Well, they just want the control. Because once you give up the right, it's very hard to get it back. See, that was passed by Congress. That's actually a law that gives them the right to take your fluids and get your data. Now, you think it's because of public health and safety. We don't want drug-influenced forklift drivers. Right. But instead of just being proactive and firing them, no, you say, we're going to put a mandate. You give us your data, you give us your fluids, or you're not going to work. And that's why I'm saying I can already hear, because the indoctrination is so heavy, that people are going to say, I don't know, host. I think it's a good thing. Of course you do. Until they force you to do other things like you need to take this vaccine or you don't get a job. You need to take this DNA test and be part of CODIS or you're not getting a job.
Mm-hmm. Or like You need to be walking in your kitchen at 3 a.m. and you need to slip and fall, and a gummy might slip in your mouth.
That's right. Or you're not getting this job.
That's right.
Right.
And it's like, well, the joke is on you because it's weird coincidence, but stuff like that happens all the time.
Yeah, like how a robber breaks into a house in some weird way. The kitchen knife flies in the air and stabs them in the arm, and then they actually sue the people they robbed.
Yeah.
Just some weird thing that just happened to happen.
Yeah, they slip on some water on the floor or something, and there was no, slippery sign up.
Right. And now they win thousands of dollars, yet they're the one that broke in the house.
Yeah, they should have sued them for all they got. Then they would have got the house itself.
But that's what I'm saying is I'm not saying that it's good that we should have a bunch of drug-influenced or drunk people driving forklifts or whatever. I'm just saying that's on the onus of the corporations to believe that the government has a right to take your Fourth Amendment rights because of the idea of safety instead of just putting the onus on the corporations. You're capitulating. And now you see it now. The government can say, hey, we're doing it for safety. Vaccine mandates, DNA mandates, whatever mandates. And now you don't like it. But you set the premise by accepting the simple thing. Of course, everybody accepts the simple thing, but you don't understand what you're accepting. These are just foundational things leading up to where we are today, leading up to the thing which I don't think anybody's ever heard of, the peace spy.
I've never heard of that.
There's a puck. It's a smart puck by a company called Withings U-Scan. Literally, your toilet is going to become a narc. It's going to rat you out, and I'm going to show it. The first toilet-embedded urine lab. And what they do is they put this, I don't know if they're going to show it, but basically it's this smart puck that goes inside of your toilet. And what it does is starts monitoring your urine. It starts monitoring, well, they say it's going to monitor your health, it's all this data.
Mm-hmm.
But what if that smart puck is connected to the cloud? That's connected to your job.
It's going to tell you on your smartwatch if you're pregnant.
Or it's going to tell your boss that you've been over there,
smoking drugs.
Doing whatever. But it's literally, you just think you're using the bathroom and you think it's cool, it's connected to your smart devices. It's literally narking. It's a snitch. And it's in your toilet. But this is what I'm saying. These things become cool and nifty. But literally, they're going to be the thing that was initialized by that anti-drug act, which is the idea that corporations have the ability to gather your data for the sake of health.
No, that's not cool, man.
No, it's not cool. But once they get that sample, once you pee in that smart puck and they get all the sample, they can build a library. And for people who don't know, a lot of you may, they already been building a DNA library, the federal government. It's called CODIS. It happened in 1994. And this is the biometric and fingerprint database. It's called CODIS, the Combined DNA Index System. And in this system, supposedly, it's supposed to be for just offenders and criminals and felons. But what's interesting, like you guys all know, right? But I'm just showing you, this is from the federal government. This is their federal database. You guys can look it up, CODIS. But what you guys do know, and I'm sure, I don't know if you've ever tried it, but 23andMe and all these genetic genealogy things, they have this system. And this is why, if you think if 23andMe and people can do this, what do you think the government can do? But so you upload this, they put your DNA and they give you all the stats about who you are and where you're from. But if somebody else from another country or somewhere else uploads their DNA, they have the ability to connect and say, hey, did you know you have a brother over here? And we know this because you guys have the same DNA. And so and you're like, oh, wow, I found my long lost brother. I didn't know I had, blah, blah, blah. So, like the Minority Report, if they want to connect the idea of bad genes, or they want to connect the idea that these kind of people have proclivities to make criminal actions, or whatever the 3 generations of imbeciles are enough, once you, of course, they say CODIS, it's only for sex offenders, it's only for felons. But of course, if you upload any of your DNA to 23andMe, whatever, you don't think that they connect that these people are relatives to these people. And now, because you have decided to volitionally upload your stuff to this commercial system, of course the government can interact with that system. And now they say, oh, this sex offender or this felon or, in their words, this imbecile is with this person. Let's start watching that person. And so if they want to keep a tab or lists to start programming a minority report, a premeditated pre-crime, and they say these people have proclivities because we see some kind of arbitrary pattern, it's already here. They already can do it.
So because your brother in Switzerland did something and you're connected to him somehow, you don't even know him from Adam, but because your DNA, and you don't even know if that DNA actually links up, they just say it does.
Right.
But I feel like that's a lot of trouble. All they have to do is find your laptop. That's what they do nowadays. It's like, oh, we found his laptop, and that's it.
Well,
the guy didn't even have a laptop. He was from Uganda,
right.
but they found it.
They can't give the laptop to anybody. They want to give the laptop to specific people. How do they know which person to give the laptop to? Well, once they figure out you're connected to this person, it's like, oh, okay, perfect. Now we can go plant this laptop and we know it's to the right person because we know you guys are all interconnected. You guys are all one big family. Oh, that's fine. Now we could get rid of your whole entire family because we know if you're hiding off in some obscure land in Greenland, we know you're there because you uploaded your DNA to 23andMe and now it's connected to this guy who's a felon and it's all interconnected into this CODIS database. So yeah, of course, they're going to give the laptops, but they need to know who to give that laptop to. And they can. Now they know.
So are you saying that they're just building more and more justification for in the future if they want to get you for spitting on a sidewalk or if they want to get you, like they can't get you for that yet in America, but one day they will be able to because they're going to be able to link you to someone who did do something. So
then they may say, well, you have a higher rate of possibly spitting on sidewalks because a lot of your family members have been caught spitting on sidewalks.
Yeah, in America, that translates as if you're spitting on sidewalks, then you're clearly eating a McDonald's too, which also clearly means you voted for Trump, which clearly means that you're an anti-Semite, which clearly means that you're willing to kill people. And they can draw this connection.
Which clearly means you're into Epstein files.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's like the worst of the worst.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's all it takes. All it takes is them to make arbitrary links, and they can make that link. Because if you just say, people are going to say, well, what gives you the proof of that? They'll say, well, AI has shown us through biological correlations because we have this database that there may be genetical proclivities for these people to act in antisocial behaviors just like their family. And there's been, let's say, 2 generations of it or whatever they want to say arbitrarily. They will just say, this is what AI has shown us. This is the whole construct of Minority Report, is these pre-crimes. And how do they assess these pre-crimes? Well, there's many ways to assess it. And the simple way is 3 generations of imbeciles are enough.
But what would you think, and I guess the audience can tell us too, would you guys say that these people I'm going to show you would be candidates for pre-crime Minority Report stuff?
Stop! What are you doing?
You like a squishy little peanut.
Shut it off.
I love you.
The hell, dude? Delete that shit now, for real. Delete it.
Good.
What do I smell?
Why are you recording?
What are you doing?
I'm gonna go to the gym.
Can you look at the camera?
Camera. What you doing?
What do you mean?
What are you doing? Oh.
Babe, do you think maybe tonight you can just spoon me?
Mitchell, I always spoon you.
I know. Mare, delete that.
What did you just say?
I want the cuddles.
Yeah?
I want the cuddle. I want to play some games.
What kind of Minority Report information could we derive from this? Like, would these all people be going in?
Yeah, you see, what's interesting about that is we see that because we're not malicious. We see that as just entertaining. But give that to a very systematically trained AI system that doesn't care about emotions. They're going to nitpick every little proclivity there. It's like, oh, you are embarrassed about this. You don't like that. This bothered you, this, and this. And they're going to set up this profile. And they're going to say this person has these kind of proclivities to do X crime or X crime or X crime. And so, yeah, for us, it's entertaining. But we're not the ones that are devising these systems. Kind of like the genetic mugshot. You know, you talked about spitting earlier. But Parabon Snapshot, which I'm about to show you here, takes DNA from a coffee cup and grows a 3D face of a suspect. You don't need to be in a database.
Oh.
They can just print your face from some spit.
Is Parabon the brother of Cinnabon?
I don't know. I really don't know. But literally, they just take your spit, and then AI creates a literal face from your spit. So that's all they need. And then you know what? What's crazy? This face might not even be real. That might be like your face or my face.
Yeah.
But they're going to say, hey, AI has derived this face, and this is genetically 99.999% an accurate match. This is our suspect. I mean, think about the layers of minority here. This is the Minority Report for real. It's like you have genetical proclivities. You haven't done anything, but there could be. We got some spit, and AI says, this is what you look like, even though we've never seen you. And so matching your genetical proclivity plus this random AI photo here, we know it's you, and you in 2029 are going to do X. And it's like, what are we even talking about here, Jim?
So what are we going to tell people at the police stations who are drawing pictures of suspects?
Well, you don't need them no more.
So that's it. They're
out of a job.
They're not going to be able to feed their children. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be able to feed their dog.
No. But
they're not even going to be able to feed their goldfish.
They can feel comfortable that they will also have a 3D generated photo of themselves too.
Yeah, maybe they can share that photo with
their
children.
Profile pic or something.
Yeah, they can cut it into some little squares and they can eat it like communion, I guess.
Yeah, but you know how earlier you were talking about throwing DNA all over the place?
Was I talking about that?
Yeah, then that's why I was like, oh, we'll get to that.
That doesn't really sound like me.
Ghost DNA.
Oh, yeah, ghost DNA, yeah. That sounds like me.
Well, the next level outside of all of that connected to DNA is called the chemical handcuff, smart water.
Whoa.
And they're sprayed by police. And so it coats you with an invisible synthetic DNA. So here at Select DNA, if they want to identify criminals that are running away, because you can say, oh, I'm just going to run. I'm going to hide. It's like, yeah. So all they got to do is shoot you with this ghost DNA, and you can't wash it off. It doesn't matter. It's a synthetic, invisible DNA.
Well, how far does it shoot?
I don't know. Super soak that, man. And I don't even know whose DNA. That's why I said this is like ghost DNA. I don't know whose DNA, but it's a synthetic DNA.
Yeah, if you're close enough to the nozzle, I'm trying to figure out like
there's going to be all kinds of overspray.
Okay.
All I can say is this is what they're going to do. It's like, oh, you're going to run? That's fine. We're going to shoot you with some of this DNA, this ghost DNA, and you're tagged like a deer. Then, and if they want to locate, they can. And adding that to smart particles, integrating that also, there'll be ways to track you, connecting that with the LoRa system, Amazon Sidewalk. So there are ghost DNAs, colleague.
Yeah, I'm starting to believe.
They're actually going to shoot you with DNA. And it's real. It's called smart water or chemical handcuffs. And so they're out there doing all this stuff.
I'm just trying to process all this because, again, like there's...
Yeah, I get it, colleague. This is a mind-blown situation. It's tough to put words to all of this.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where I've been over the past few nights. Like, am I a victim Have I been squirted on? And how would I know?
Well, you wouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so I could be traced right now.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
could be tracing me.
Yeah, they are tracing you. That's the whole point. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. There's nothing.
Yeah, maybe I'll just stay at home and play. I guess even people that play video games, it feels like
Yeah. We're about to get right into the slew of that.
yeah, like their minds are even affected too.
Babe, please. Your family misses you. Ooh. Whoa, what game is this? Is this called Phallus City?
I don't know. That's what he's playing.
That game is ruining your life. Wow, that's a number one stunner. Wow. I don't know about any of that, but yeah, that is definitely going to be affecting your mental state. You're going to be counting the inches.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to go now to Act 3. The modern grid from 2000s to today. The environment as the sensor. Now, these things are going to be more familiar, but as we've been progressing, I've been showing the foundations. It's been here for 300 years in building. But the next thing, the next matrix, is the SIMP watch, or the quantified self, made available by our friends here at Congress passing this bill called the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, which I'm sure you guys have heard about the Affordable Care Act. And what this does, it allows companies to track us. And even the NIH, the National Health Institute, they know the dangers of this. Because, back in the day, the CIA used to have to bug your house, but now they don't. Utilizing this, companies now have the ability to track your data. Like we've been saying in the earlier senses, you want a job, pee in this cup. So at least at that point, it was volitional. They didn't have instant access to your data. They just did it under compulsion. If you don't pee, you don't get a job. And we already saw the beginning of that was stay in the zone and you can eat. If you don't stay in the zone, you die. So it's always been at least volitional. You still have a choice. They can't automatically get it. With the Affordable Care Act and the Patient Protection Act, they can automatically get it. Now, of course, you still have to have one layer of volition. You have to participate. But once you enter the participation, it's almost impossible to get out. So just like right now, I don't know about you, colleague. I don't know how you deal with your insurance, car insurance, but a lot of car insurance companies and a lot of health insurance companies, they give you this benefit. Like if you put one of those driving monitoring device in your OBD and it monitors your driving, after 6 months of monitoring, if they see that you are a safe driver, they'll give you a discounted rate. But what are they really doing? They're calculating all this telemetry data. The same thing. A health insurance company can say, wear this smartwatch. They'll give you a smartwatch. And if they monitor your sleeping behaviors, your mobile activity, everything, they'll say, oh, we'll give you a premium discount. So in your mind, wow, I scored a 92 on my sleep. I made 10,000 steps today, host. Look at that. And I'm thinking, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Because if you don't meet the standards, guess what's going to happen? Oh, your insurance policy is going to get terminated. No insurance for you. Or, yeah, now it's going to cost you $10,000 a month. No insurance for you. So this is that force compliancy. And the Affordable Care Act is what allowed this to be legal. Because before your data was protected, they couldn't do it. But because we need to focus on public health, we need to allow companies to get access to this. And so here you are. And so what are they going to do? They're going to give you incentives. Hey, buy that $400 smartwatch. Hey, look, I'm a healthy Joe. It's over. It's over. Because what if you want to eat that bag of chips?
Yeah, I guess they could also monitor how healthy you are too.
That's right.
If you're a certain amount of healthy,
you get a reduced premium.
Yeah, or even they could start advertising you different kinds of products. Like let's get more fat in this guy or girl or whoever. So they advertise you different products based on your eating habit. Now, if you're already eating unhealthy, they're going to keep on doing that anyway. But they're going to also
Oh, yeah. See, now you're getting it, colleague. Everything we've been talking about, that's why I'm saying this is a system. Remember earlier we were talking about the TID, the targeted dream incubation, targeted advertising, smart. When you connect all of these ideas connected, yeah. Oh, yeah, we know these person's eating habits. We know this. We're going to put this right before they sleep. We're going to give these false notifications on their smartwatch that they need to, you need to go drink some orange juice. Your blood level's high. You might be diabetic. Now you're forcing people to buy orange juice. They can do everything because now you think all these systems are being legit, but yet it's just manipulating.
Yeah, it's just the TIDs,
it's just
TIDs.
It's just controlling your life. But it's not good enough for all that, like we've talked about before. You guys know about the smart lights. I can't remember if it was you or me, but we talked about the smart street lights, which you guys know about. Just in case you guys aren't familiar with it, I'll put it up here. But in San Diego, they put these smart street lights. Public council were in the dark on police access to smart street lights. So these street lights had microphones, cameras, all kinds of devices.
And fake birds.
Of course, monitoring everybody's actions. And so that's one layer. But like you guys also know about the Amazon sidewalk, which I've talked about quite a bit. That's another common invasive activity. But, these things that we're talking about, like what was the other thing that we talked about? The digital license plates. That's another layer.
The birds.
Yeah. And then your car snitches on you. You got cameras watching in your cars, just in case people aren't familiar with all of those things. So it's Amazon Sidewalk, which connects all these IoT devices. It stills. If you say, I'm going to disconnect from the internet, you're really not. It's going to take your internet. It's going to take your neighbor's internet and make sure it connects to your smart device so they can continue monitoring you. The digital license plates, the future of license plates, which we showed before, how they can make these license plates whatever you want. And that seems really cool.
CSAM.
Yeah, CSAM. Until they put ads on it or until the government decides we don't want you to have a license plate no more and they just disconnect your service. Not only that, they're tracking devices because they're connected to the network.
But I'm sure it's going to be sold to us again as, hey, if someone steals your car, we could find it for you.
Of course.
And again, that's another big thing for insurance companies because now they could tell if you actually stole your own car and threw it off that cliff and you told your uncle about it, but nobody else. But then your uncle goes and rats you out. The insurance company doesn't have to know all that in between stuff. They're just going to know just like that because your license plate's going to tell them it's going to be the narc.
Yeah, well, they don't. They literally will have cameras inside your car. So I mean, what's the difference?
No more riding dirty.
Yeah, what's the difference?
You're gonna have to go take a shower before you ride anything.
I mean, really, at that point, what is the difference? Like you guys see right here, understanding driver drowsiness, the attention warning system. So they say, oh yeah, just like anything. You remember how earlier it's all about safety. We don't want drunk or drug influenced forklifters, so we need you to pee in a cup. This is the same thing. So they're saying, hey, we need to make sure you're not falling asleep on the wheel. So we got to watch you. So they got to have these cameras inside of your vehicle. Or they're going to pass this, they're going to start implementing the kill switch in your car. Of course, like everything, it's for driver safety. Like some of you guys probably have this right now in your car, where it's a driver alcohol detection system. If they can detect alcohol, your car just won't start. But what if they want you not to drive? What they can do is give a false positive. And guess what? Your car's just not even going to start because they say, oh, well, we detect alcohol. But who controls that? Who controls the censoring?
It's the birds.
Right. And so at some point you can see, well, we already know because it is the bird. It's not the wings. It's actually the bird.
Well, it's crazy, for all the people that think that birds are all fake. I saw a video just on a side tangent of something different. I wouldn't think a robot bird would care this much.
Wow, that jerker wants to save his buddy.
Yeah, but it's like a foot drop. Look.
Separation anxiety.
Yeah. That's real.
That is interesting. It seems like the bird is aware of something.
I thought it was AI at first, and maybe it is. I don't know. It looked pretty real to me. It seemed like something that pigeons would do. Or buzzards or whatever those
Well,
were.
I just got a couple more things I want to put out here. Actually, I have a lot more, but I don't think I have enough time. But just a couple things you guys might not know. There's also this thing called gait biometrics. If you didn't know, they can monitor you by your limp or your walking style. So you think, and again, this is back to these smart devices. You think, they're just monitoring your sleep. They're literally monitoring your walk, how you walk, if you have a limp, the pattern of it.
How many steps you take.
Yeah, they can identify you by how you walk. But some people will say, you know what, I can control that. I'll perfect my walk. I'll fool them. But can you control your heart rate? The Pentagon has a laser that can identify people from a distance, over 200 meters away, by their heartbeat. They can literally shoot a laser and detect who you are because they have your heartbeat pattern down pat. And how are they going to get that pattern? By your smartwatch, which has been measuring your heart patterns. Now, how are you going to fake that? And you say, I can control it all the time. So they literally can shoot a laser from these smart lamps or wherever. And if they want to say, yeah, you can try to fake everything, but we know your heart pattern and we know who you are because we see your heart pattern.
But they won't be able to determine your heart posture.
No, can you explain the difference?
Sure. Like one, how like I probably have poor posture sitting down. How your heart sits inside of your cavity, that's its posture. So if it's leaning more towards the right or leaning more towards the left or just hanging kind of low, that's your heart posture. Mm. And that's probably, I'm sure that's a fingerprint to everybody. Everybody's got a different heart posture.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't control that either if it hangs real low down to the floor.
Yeah, no, you can't control that.
Yeah.
But like Cardi B says, she doesn't play when it comes to her heart.
Well, that's good. The question is do you play with your dead?
I haven't recently, no.
I have two more acts to go through, but I don't have time for it. So I'm going to sum up with this one last thing that I thought was very interesting. You remember that Black Mirror episode where they were trying to create an AI version of dead relatives so that you could talk to them? Mm-hmm. That wasn't just an episode. That's patented by Microsoft. So here in this patent, if I can zoom in, it's creating a conversational chatbot of a specific person. And in this abstract, it tells you that they're going to collect all the data from your social media, all your voice data, all the letters, just like in that Black Mirror episode. And they're going to create chatbots or API systems that would be able to be generative based upon your actions and is multimodal. And so they have a patent, and you can see right here, application filed by Microsoft Technologies. And so they're going to create dead chatbots. So the idea that they want you to live forever is going to be possible. You want to keep on talking to your dead loved one? You want to keep having that memory? This is just the beginning of it, just like in that movie. You're talking on this phone and you think, in your mind, man, think about the layers. They put you in an induced coma and then you wake up and they tell you you're in a severe accident. But really it was all just to get you acclimated to this idea that your husband is somewhere else or your wife is somewhere else. And now there's a phone call that comes in and you hear them and they're talking to you. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be home soon. And, I'm trying to make it, but you're just talking to an AI generated chatbot and you don't know because you just woke up from this induced coma that they put you in and they gave you this whole false narrative. The ideas of how deep these layers can go.
And all the while you're actually in a coma still.
Right.
Yeah, your brain is inside of the computer. And in this computer, you think you're talking to your relatives, but you're not.
Right. You want to talk about the Matrix.
Yeah, and then you yourself don't even have a body and you figure that out.
Right.
You're not even in a coma at all.
Yeah, you want to talk about trying to get out of the cave.
Yeah, that's actually literally the brain in the vat.
Right. That's what I think is interesting. Now, I didn't go through all 50. I just don't have enough time. I thought I could. Well, it took a lot longer than I thought. I thought I was going to just slew through them. But I took you at least from 1705 to 2026. And you guys can see that the ghost is in the machine. But eventually they want you to be in the machine. And they don't want you to be tracked. They don't want to give you a device. They want you to be the device.
And the ghost will be inside of me.
Right. Because
So I'm like a soul and a body type thing.
yeah, it was just digital. It's a digital soul. But that's what I want people to see. You know, all this talk about surveillance and control, that's not the real objective. They're not really wanting to control you. They want you to be a part of the system. Control is only here because you think you have this idea of control, like volition, like free will. But the idea isn't for them to actually have you make choices. If I had a bunch of robots, I want them to do something that I want them to do. Not because I think it's cool that they're thinking, but because there's an objective I want, or a game I want to play, or something. And so the idea is for you to become the real NPC in their system. You become the device, and you just become a means for their entertainment. That's the ultimate goal, because in the end, what good to the elites are people other than a means to play a game? Just like you enjoy playing a video game. Instead of them playing a video game, they want to play with real people. But they need to absolutely control you, and the only way to do that is make you the actual device and take away all the possibility of volition. And they will. And that is the biopolitical convergence. At the end game, it's messing with your biology to convert you into a device, not that you have a device.
So that's what that rapper was talking about when he said they want to play with no Nintendo.
No. That's what I have for this week's political convergence, the human operating system. I didn't even get into the University of Massachusetts, which, you know, people talk about the conspiracy about how you are going to be an antenna for 6G. And, you know, it's always that conspiratorial theory. Literally, the University of Massachusetts has devised a way to make your body an antenna for 6G. And you know, there's a cell internet, how your blood and your cells actually are going to be integrated into what they call the Internet of Nanotechnology. So it's not IOBs, it's IO nanotechnology. So there's an Internet of Cells. It even gets more deeper. And so maybe we'll have to talk about that in some other time, but that's what I have. What do you have?
Well, in slew with people getting followed, this guy apparently went to the Epstein Island. He snuck there on he looks rich, him and his buddies. He went there on a jet ski, and ever since he came back, he's been followed by a bunch of black SUVs.
Disgusting. I'm not leaving until I make it on this island. The temple's right there. There's guards right there. There's security patrolling over there. They're already coming out. There's people on guard on carts right there. I'd imagine people come and look at the island all the time anyway. So this is not too out of the norm. There's definitely a lot of tourism out here.
So you notice he has friends behind him on other jet skis.
So I don't think this alarms them. Although they do have a side-by-side that is coming towards us on an island right there. I see its headlights. They're angled at us. They're trying to let us know that they know we're here. What do you think is going to happen? I don't know. They know we're here. They know we're here. We were too obvious. But there's a rainstorm coming, so we have to be quick, bro. Let's go. We got to go. Let's go.
This guy's name is Matt Batista. You can look him up on social media. Here's another. So this is what started happening after he got home.
Yo, this is crazy. Watch what happens when I try to go on Instagram. I click on my page, change password. We've locked your account to protect you from a possible hack. To recover your account, set a new password. Boys, I think I'm getting hacked. What the fudge is happening? Oh my god. Hey guys, just remember, I have no intentions of going missing. Okay, I love my life, and if I ever disappear, it's not on my own accord. So anyway, just admire this real quickly. Tell my family I love them. Hey guys,
So what's really interesting about all this is, I was seeing this guy, and then I saw another guy out here doing the same thing. And I was like, oh, okay, this is fake. Everybody's, people are now borrowing from, maybe one of them's real and the other guy is not. One of them's stealing the content or the idea from the other one or whatever. And then I found out that they were actually friends. So the reason they're telling the same story is because they're just giving updates about their own life. So they're apparently all of those people that were out there
Are getting watched.
are getting followed now.
That's legit, though. That is Epstein's Island. That was his little blue house.
Days since I posted this video of me sneaking onto Jeffrey Epstein's island, every day since I've been home, there have been blacked out Escalade trucks sitting outside my house. I'm not sure what they want or who they are, but I'm posting this here now just in case anything happens. For all I know, this could be Jeffrey Epstein's friends. If I pissed anyone off, I apologize, and I want this all to be over.
So you guys can go to, this guy is not Nico Grigg. Anyway, you guys can go to any of these guys' social media. They're constantly posting, giving updates because they know that something bad may happen to them. So here's another one. This one was just 2 days ago.
Front one of the black Escalade trucks sitting outside my house. There he is. He thinks he's so sneaky, but I see him. I haven't tried confronting one of them yet, so I'm actually curious to see what's gonna happen. Kind of nervous, not gonna lie. Look at him. He has no clue that I know he's here right now. Oh my God, bro. No, okay. I'm not gonna lie. Him driving away just confirmed that they are watching me. I'm terrified. I'm not leaving my house anymore. I'm posting every day. Follow to stay updated. I'm about to try to confront. Everyone wants me to do a 24-hour stream, but I don't want to do that because if I get stream sniped IRL, I'm just going to turn into a meme on Twitter. That would also give the people who are stalking me a perfect view at where I am and what I'm doing.
So this was 1 day ago. This guy uploaded. They all uploaded today as well. So far, you guys can go check them out. This is why you don't go to Epstein's Island. Now, we all know Epstein Island was purchased by somebody else. I can't remember the guy's name.
There was a billionaire that wanted to turn it into like a luxury resort.
Yeah. We actually talked about it a little bit before. But just because they go out there, that wouldn't be enough for him to follow these kids around. It's kind of weird. So
I don't know. I mean, that's probably a very secured place, and people are probably wondering, what are you doing trying to come on Epstein's Island? I mean, that's pretty suspect.
Yeah, in one of the videos, you can tell it almost looked like they were actually boarding a boat. The people on the island were boarding a boat. It looked like they had their security was boarding a boat. It looked like their boat was about to go chase these guys on their jet skis. But you're probably not going to catch a jet ski a lot faster. So they turned the camera off. You guys can go check those videos out yourselves. But I thought it was interesting. This is why you don't touch God's anointed.
It's crazy. Well, anyways, colleague, I appreciate that. As always, we always need the updates because, everybody right now is talking about the Epstein files, but no one's talking about the people going to the Epstein file.
Yeah, those island boys.
Yeah, there's Island Boys 2.0.
Yeah, Volume 2.
Yeah, stay tuned. We might give you the update next week. Anyways, I appreciate that, colleague. As always, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode. Like this video. Subscribe if you haven't to the Matrix Network. Check us out on Spotify and Apple iTunes if you want to listen to the podcast. But as always, I'm host, and this fine gentleman here is colleague.
And remember, kids, when you're saying goodbye to a British person or an English person, you have to be careful with the words that you use.
Hey, Raul, catch ya! Yeah, nice to meet you. Champ. Nah, yeah, I'll see you later. Muscles. You all good?
Buddy. He's done.
Well, guys.
That guy lost his lunch.
guy lost his tooth.
I didn't know that. So they don't like being called champ, buddy.
Muscles was the other one. Yeah.
Got to remember that. Put that in my back pocket.
Yeah, that way next day.
I don't want a guy to lose his lunch.
Yeah,
that's tough. Well, anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll see you guys in the next one.